Wacha kuwa hekla bwana. Wewe ni majority leader.
Senator Eddie, you have concluded. I have protected Eddie. Can I talk? As per the standing orders, I have asked you. I will not tell you. Sergeant at Arms, get Senator Sifuna out of this house. Get out. Sifuna, you are rubbish yourself. Get out. He called me rubbish.
Point of order. You guys are destroying the Senate. How do you take this before being given? No. Wacha nikuulize. Give me a chance.
Senators. Order, senators. Order, senators. Order, senators. Eddie. Senator Mgeni, what's your point of order?
Yeah, Mr. Speaker, sir. Mr. Speaker, sir, and my colleagues, honorable senators, you know, we can have differences here, but I plead with all of us that we try and have dignity. You know, the problem with what's happening nowadays is that with WhatsApp, whatever we are doing here could easily find its way out there. And you know, once information goes out there, this house is going to be equated with some, I don't know, MCA somewhere. You know, we can always differ. And we want a house that is exciting, a house that is interesting, a house where we can challenge each other. But let's always remember that people are watching. I mean, even when things were so bad, Senator Halwale, during the Second World War, Roosevelt was able to sit down with Stalin, and they discussed and they came up with the UN, the League of Nations, that is there up to today. So let's agree on the rules of the game, the ground rules. When a speaker is on the chair, I plead. When the speaker is on the chair, I plead, let us give him respect. Because he's the one who guides deliberation, who moderates debate. Please. You know, the shouting across is okay, but I plead,
Senator, be heard in silence, please.
I plead, please, so that for posterity, Senator Cheragay, for posterity, we retain the dignity of this house. We have, Mr. Speaker, we have had senators who have argued their points with passion. I saw Senator, now CS, Murkomen, taking one senior council Rengo, but he was doing it within the rules. You know, he was doing it within the rules, and that's how it should be. I plead with us, even when we have differences, let us retain the dignity of this house. I plead with you, please, Mr. Speaker. I plead, Mr. Speaker, that in all our emotions, let us maintain the dignity of the house. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
What's your point of order, Majority Leader?
10 seconds.
Just for 10 seconds, two things that I want to say. I agree with everything Senator Omogeni has said. The only thing I want to humbly plead, Mr. Speaker, we can exchange with Senator Eddy as much as we want. He's my contemporary, he's my age mate, he's my friend. If I say, for example, things that he doesn't like, and I agree with Senator Omogeni that we be guided in what we say, that is between us as colleagues. The minute we begin, I have been in this house for sure, Mr. Speaker, even in the worst of times when we never used to greet each other as colleagues, there is no time that a senator used to insult the Speaker. That is the truth. You cannot run away. And Minority Leader, I want to plead with you, my brother. Teach Senator Sifuna how to behave in Parliament. This is not the only time he has abused the Speaker. He has also equally abused the substantive Speaker. That is not right. We can exchange as colleagues, that's fine. How many times does me and you trade things that we don't like, but we'll go outside and share a cup of tea? That is normal. It's part of parliamentary practice. But the habit of insulting the Speaker, we should not encourage. Lastly, Mr. Speaker, Senator Omogeni said something that I agree with. And I want it to go on record to the people running Parliamentary Budget Office. Parliamentary Broadcasting Unit, PBU. They are the ones who share some of these clips, the things that Senator Omogeni is saying. Because nobody else has access to these clips. So I want to humbly plead with the clerk's table that is here, if there are certain things, you know, the reason why, and I was in PSC when we made the decision to allow PBU to be our own internal unit, because when we previously used to allow media to be the ones, they'd focus on non-issues. They'll beam on a senator sleeping or a slip of a tongue by the senator. So we say, let's have our own professional broadcasting unit that is within Parliament. Unfortunately, Mr. Speaker, every time nowadays when there are exchanges, the following day you will see the same clips being relayed, yet the broadcasting belongs to this particular house. So I want to humbly plead with Parliamentary Broadcasting Unit. I have forgotten the name of the head, but the reason why we kept PBU inside the House of Parliament is that so that you focus on the core business, not to be sharing clips sometimes of members in unfortunate exchanges that are not helpful to Kenyans. So I don't expect the clip that has been seen, for example, today between members, one or two things saying to each other, to be found outside there. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Minority Leader.
Asante Bwana Spika. Bwana Spika, nataka kukubaliana na ndugu yangu Aaron alivyosema 100% kwamba yuko sawa. Na mimi leo Bwana Spika, ningependa uwe na moyo mkunjufu, moyo mkubwa kama spika wetu. Ninaelewa ya kwamba ule tulivyofanya hapa, yale maneno yote tuliyofanya hapa, si ya usawa kulinganishana na wewe ukiwa umeketi kwenye kiti. Bwana Spika, mengi ndugu wakiketi ama katika hafla yetu kama hii ya senators kuwa katika mjadala, lazima sengine tutakosoana mdomo. Kwa hiyo kama imefanyika ni bahati mbaya, hatukutarajia kwamba itafika hapo. Kwa hiyo Bwana Spika, kitu tunataka kusema kwa ndugu zangu ni kwamba leo tumeikosea hii nyumba. Huo ndio ukweli wa mambo. Sote upande ule upande huu tumekosea. Tumekosa. Na lazima tukubaliane ya kwamba maneno yaliyopelekwa pande ile na pande ile, mengine mimi siwezi kutamka kwa sababu ya vile ninavyofikiria kwamba ikiwa wale wako nyumbani na wale wanafunzi ambao wanakuja hapa wanaona mtu kama Boni Halwale, wanamuona Mazayo, wanaona Aaron Cheriot, wanaona kijana mshupavu wakili, tukiwa tunapeana maneno kama hayo, Bwana Spika, yote piga moyo konde, yaweke nyuma. Na najua katika ile hasira, ukiwa kama kinara katika hii nyumba, najua utaweza kutoa uamuzi. Kama vile katika ile hasira iliyokuja kwa ghafla, na wewe ni binadamu pia. Hakuna mtu anaweza kukuita hivyo na wewe usimuite. Kwa hiyo yeye akiwa ameenda kidogo upande ambao umezidi, mimi ningeomba hiyo, hata ile pengine vile ulivyotamka, pengine useme okay, ilikuwa katika ile spur of a moment, lakini yote hao tuliyofanya, mimi nasema tuyaweke nyuma, tugange yale yanayokuja. Kwa ndugu zangu, mimi naweza sema kwa pande zote mbili lazima tuonyeshe mfano. Kila siku watu wanakuja hapa wakituona, wanaoketi pale, wanaoangalia ndani ya nyumba kwa runinga, wanaoangalia katika mahall makubwa makubwa. Sisi kama mfano, please, I plead with you, let's use good language, let's use parliamentary language, so that we can at least save this house. We are bado tunaendelea, hata pole natumia lugha mbili, lakini tunaendelea kudidimia chini kiheshima. Ningesema sote tuwe kitu kimoja ili tuweke heshima ya nyumba hii ya Senate, kwa sababu sio sisi peke yake wa mwisho kukaa hapa ndani. Vizazi na vizazi vitakuja kukaa hapa, na lazima tuweke msingi wa heshima nzuri tunayopeana katika hii nyumba yetu ya Senate. Asante Bwana Speaker.
Senator Boni Khalwale.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise on standing order number 123 to move the following motion. That Senator Sifuna Watenya be suspended from the service of the Senate. Mr. Speaker, this is a standing order that was grafted to speak to what we have witnessed today. And Mr. Speaker, because this motion doesn't require substantiation, Mr. Speaker, allow me to say one thing in the footsteps of the Senator of Nyamira. Senators who are shouting at me, I respect you, and I cannot expect you to respect me. But let me tell you, amongst you are lawyers. I am the only member of parliament in the Republic of Kenya who has been decorated by the Law Society of Kenya. I've been awarded the highest award of respect, the Father Kaiser Award. I have been decorated, Mr. Speaker, by the International Federation of Women Lawyers, FIDA. Mr. Speaker, I want to appeal, without naming names, to the young senators I'm seeing in the House, including Okech, including Sifuna, including Ladema, to make time and swallow your pride and learn from us. It is not by accident that we have this number of years behind us in experience. It's not by design, by accident, Mr. Speaker, that we have this many years of traversing the globe. Mr. Speaker, if you do not apply standing order number 123 through my motion, we will have lost this house. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Sorry, Mr. Speaker, before you give the Honorable Ledama on his standing order, I request Senator Kinyua, the Commissioner, to second my motion that Senator Sifuna.
One moment. Senator Olekina, what's your point of order?
Mr. Speaker, I thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to beseech my colleagues. Mr. Speaker, I would like to beseech my colleagues that we are mature men and women in this House. A few weeks ago, I mentioned to the majority leader that if these things proceed the way they are proceeding, he himself is losing this House. Mr. Speaker, I have sat here and I've been very, very calm today. I've listened, and I've listened to the majority whip. the majority whip has constantly used unparliamentary language. Mr. Speaker, the majority whip has also tried to rewrite our standing orders by standing and saying, I am moving a motion under standing order number 123. Mr. Speaker, we have to give respect. And I've listened to the majority whip saying that the young senators, please learn from our wisdom. But my question that I want to ask is that, does that learning also equate to rewriting standing orders that are not in existence? Mr. Speaker, you know, I don't want us to get into a point where we are now directing the chair. But I want to follow the words of wisdom of Senator Madzayo. I want to beseech you, Mr. Speaker, that with all these emotions, I want to take full responsibility for what has happened on our side and request us to maintain decorum in this House. That is the only time that will be seen as being different. This shouting back and forth is not going to help us. Yes, we are all human beings. We're people who lose our cool at any given time. But Mr. Speaker, being directed, and I know maybe what my colleague said may not be parliamentary, but having a situation where the chair and a senator exchange words, it really beats the purposes why we should be in this House in the first place. So, Mr. Speaker, and I hope, Mr. Speaker, you can give me an ear. Minority Leader, can you please allow the Speaker to hear? Senator Madzayo. Senator Madzayo, please. Senator Madzayo. Senator Madzayo, please. Mr. Speaker, just give me your ear for 3 minutes. Yeah, because I've been interrupted. The minority leader has been talking to you. I want to beseech you. I want to beseech you, Mr. Speaker. I want to beseech you, Mr. Speaker, not to let the actions of a spur of a moment dictates how you're going to deal with this matter. You've been invited by the majority side through a very unprocedural way to effect standing order number 123. My plea to you as a colleague is that you let the bygones be bygones. Let us learn from our mistakes and let us find a way that we can be able to cool down these temperatures. We all need each other. And any given time when a senator is not seated here because of spur of the moment actions, the people that he or she represents end up suffering. So, Mr. Speaker, today, the whole day, I mean, it's 5:32. You know, we are still waiting for the Speaker to come back. But the whole day, really, we have not discussed. There was a motion, I know, of Kenyans who are still seeking compensation from the bomb of 1998. We have issues of electricity. Senator Chute discussed that issue. But do you really want to tell me, and this is to all of you, my colleagues, do you want to tell me that we'll reduce the 2.5 hours that we have in the Senate to be a time when we can just be bickering and hurling insults and calling each other's names? I am really, really disappointed. I'm ashamed of this House today. I'm really ashamed of this House. And I want to request my colleagues, please, let us act our age. Today we are not acting our age. Today we are insulting each other back and forth. You know, it is not helping us. I said I take full responsibility on what happened on our side. And I want to request you, Mr. Speaker, to let it bygone. They are highly regretted. And the only way we can remain as one House, Mr. Speaker, is when we learn to tolerate one another. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
I am following an order on the screen. Senator Cherargei, what's your point of order?
Mr. Speaker, I think Senator Ledama should listen because he was also imploring to have Mr. Speaker, sound standing order number 1 and looking the motion that Senator Boni Khalwale has brought under section 123. Mr. Speaker, what happens is that I only beg of you, Speaker, with all humility, it is that at that moment, the Senator Sifuna should have been invited to apologize and withdraw, which did not happen. Speaker, looking at the emotions and agreeing that this thing has generated, Mr. Speaker, and we know also you are a human being. We know you have powers of standing order number 1. We don't want to take to the House to the extreme end, Mr. Speaker, but in as much as Senator Ledama pleads with you to let bygones bygone, then, Mr. Speaker, there should some level of remorse, so that even as you take a decision whether to dispense off with Senator Boni Khalwale's motion as per section 123, Mr. Speaker. No, I'm just you allow me to finish. I'm in fact in line with what you are saying. No, it is. Let me invite you, Senator Eddy, and you know you are my friend. Article section 120, senior counsel. Can you do your job? You did it well when I was in remand. Can you please continue? Understanding order number 123 is that, Mr. Speaker, and standing order number 1, I know, Mr. Speaker, we are also human. There might have been that altercation, but looking at the unity of the House, and Mr. Speaker, I've seen you have invited that for Kamukunji tomorrow. These are some of the things we can discuss in camera. We are a one House, Mr. Speaker. I know the motion of standing order 123 is too harsh, Mr. Speaker. I know the standard procedure of the House, Mr. Speaker, should have to invite Senator Sifuna to withdraw and apologize, which was not done, Mr. Speaker. I think because of the emotions, Mr. Speaker, the standard should have been, Mr. Speaker, I know you are consulting the House leadership, the 2 wise men, Mr. Speaker, the 2 wise men. Okay. Mr. Speaker, I wanted you to listen to this because you are also human. And I agree with the wisdom of both majority and minority leader. I know this is something we can agree, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the standard procedure would have been that Senator Sifuna, and I'm not playing devil's advocate, should have been given a chance to withdraw and apologize, which did not happen because, of course, we understand you are human and the House was degenerating, Mr. Speaker. That should have been the procedure. Number 2, even if we were to agree with the minority side, there should be some level of remorse because you are also human, Mr. Speaker. They should have been able of remorse so that we invite you to invoke understanding order number 1. Finally, Mr. Speaker, looking at the motion that my brother Senator Boni Khalwale, the bullfighter, has come up with, Mr. Speaker, I think at this point it is too harsh, in my own opinion, because we are one House. We want to work together as a House of Union so that we can move forward, Mr. Speaker. So that, Mr. Speaker, can you protect me from the Senate Majority Leader, Mr. Speaker?
Conclude, please, Senator.
Yeah, Majority Leader, Senate Majority Leader, Mr. Speaker, protect him from and also Commissioner of PSC. You know, Mr. Speaker, the chairperson, the Commissioner of PSC is happy. He has been allocated 40 billion for Parliament. So, Mr. Speaker, what I'm just reiterating in conclusion, in my own opinion, I know an excuse of ignorance of the law is no excuse, but looking at the unity where we want to go as a Senate, coming together, the House of Union, Mr. Speaker, let us also, Mr. Speaker, you can sue your wisdom understanding order number 1, but I can in fact, Mr. Speaker, because the House is becoming imechemuka, ground imechemuka, maybe tomorrow, Mr. Speaker, during the Kamukunji at around 10, I think 10 a.m., these are things we can discuss in camera because, Mr. Speaker, we don't want to generate where you are insulting the Speaker. Mr. Speaker, please, those are my humble submissions. Let us move forward as a one House. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Wambua.
I thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I will go straight to
to respond to the motion that was moved by Senator Alwale. And he knows it. He is the father of this book. We should be learning from him. The Speaker, clearly and outrightly, he can't do what he has done. He has purported to have done. Standing Order 123. It begins with naming a senator. It is after the senator has been named by the Speaker, not by a member. The member will request the Speaker to name a member. It is after the Speaker has named a member that then the other processes will follow. Secondly, Mr. Speaker, I have only heard it today that you can name or purport to move a motion under 123 after the senator has already been kicked out by the Speaker. So then we put ourselves in a situation that we don't know what to do. Do we recall the member? What happens? The Speaker, that be as it may, before the senator for Kakamega, a man we truly respect, moved that motion, Mr. Speaker, there was bitter exchange. I saw the senator for Kakamega exchange with the senator for Nairobi. I saw my colleagues here, including myself, exchange with colleagues on the other side. So now if we were to go that route, I don't know who will be left in this house, Mr. Speaker. There will be no house, Mr. Speaker, there will be no house. Today, Mr. Speaker, the respect to that chair, greatest respect to that chair and to yourself, Mr. Speaker. I saw you exchange one-on-one with a member and call each other names, Mr. Speaker. I saw that with my eyes today. Mr. Speaker, we have a Senate, and I'll keep saying this, we have a Senate to take care of. And I say that to